Okay, very good. Welcome, everybody, to the regular Board of Education meeting. Very quickly, the open public meeting statement. In accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975 announcement, I wish to announce that the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the school district of the Chatham's Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the time, date, place thereof posted in the Board Administrative Offices, sent to the clerks of the Chatham Borough and Chatham Township, the Library of the Chathams, the Chatham Courier, the Daily Record, the Star Ledger, and TAP. Mr. Quill, would you mind taking attendance?
Sure. Mr. Gilfillan?
Here.
Mr. Arnott? Here. Ms. Chigarelli?
Here.
Ms. Clark?
Here.
Ms. Kenny? Mr. Ryan?
Here.
Mr. Smith? Mr. Valenti?
Here.
And Ms. Weber?
Here.
7 present and accounted.
Excellent. If you're able to, please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So for President's comments, I'll be extremely brief under the circumstances. Again, I just want to thank the administration and all the staff for their tireless efforts, and also the parents in the community. We'll get through this together, but thank you, Dr. LaSousa, for steering the ship and getting us all in the right direction. And please tell your staff how much we appreciate their tireless efforts. I'm sure parents have a newfound appreciation for how much teachers do each day now that all, the parents themselves are home with their children throughout the school day. So it should be interesting. The other comment I'd like to make is that we will be focusing on only essential business going forward. We're going to cancel the March 30th meeting and probably continue to hold the April 27th meeting. We're going to focus just on essential business, which essentially is anything to do with our special education students, our budget, and any hirings or contract work. If something comes up, Dr. LaSousa, you'll let us know. If there's any emergent reason you need to meet, if we need to have a public meeting, we'll do it in the parking lot, in the open air, and stay as far apart as we can. But until such time, we're not going to have another public meeting until April 27th, I believe.
Okay.
So moving over quickly to administrative reports, Dr. LaSousa.
Sure. Well, obviously, the coronavirus and COVID-19 is the topic of the day. I want to echo your sentiments and thank all of our staff and all of our parents for pulling together. This was day number 1. It looks like there could be many more days, even beyond the initial 2-week period that we were planning for. So there will be adjustments that we have to make over time. We'll have to continue to be flexible and respond to whatever the situation dictates as we move forward. But I did get a lot of positive feedback today overall. I was in communication with all of our principals. For the most part, parents were very pleased with the connections that teachers were making with students, the work that they were providing. People were logged in. They were being productive. So it was a good start under terrible circumstances.
Staff is no issues there?
No stress on the system. We did add a technology resources page under the COVID-19 section of our website to help parents and assist students. We have the ability there for students to put in a ticket, if you will, if they're experiencing any issues, and our technology staff will assist them with whatever the problem is.
Okay, great.
So we're moving along. I also mentioned I did speak with both police chiefs today. They will be repurposing our Class 3 officers for the time being, essentially converting them into a Class 2 officer so that those officers can be used in the community if necessary.
Okay, great.
So
Good idea.
all hands on deck there, and we were happy to support that any way we can. And I think that's it for now. Obviously, there will be more information coming about the school closure and about everything else involved with the COVID-19 virus.
Okay. Any questions?
Mike, we just continually keep the community updated as we learn things and just kind of share out. I think sometimes more information is better than silent. I think people get angsty when they don't hear.
Yes. So we developed a district-wide communications plan. The administrative team did, which essentially has me being the point person for all information that would affect all of the schools and kind of the high-level information and messages. Then we've got each building that should be communicating directly with the parents in those buildings. And then today was the day where we really wanted teachers to be connecting directly with students and parents as appropriate. So we will continue to do that. I want to try to strike a balance, and I've been trying to do this for the past few weeks, of not sending something every day, but keeping trying to kind of do it once or twice a week so that we could address the prominent issues and not just have this steady drip of continual COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19. We're getting enough of that everywhere else we turn. So hopefully the teachers can kind of settle the students in, and then I can provide information as necessary as we go forward.
Okay. Excellent. Very good. Peter, Business Administrator report?
Well, the other item under me
I'm sorry, I thought you
is one of these essential business items. We
Yes.
have to, the board has to adopt a preliminary budget. We have to submit it to the county. We did get clarification to find out if there would be any delay or postponement to the requirement. There will not be, so we have to just go through the preliminary budget. There's a resolution. I can just glide through this presentation very quickly.
Okay, why don't you go through it so
yep.
we have it recorded and
Yes.
for the public?
So the Finance and Facilities Committee has met multiple times to talk about the 2021 budget. The headlines are that our enrollment is continuing to decline slowly. Our health insurance premium increase will be less than 5%. We will not have the final figure until the end of March, but it will be a relatively modest increase compared to what we've experienced in other years. The maximum tax levy increase that the Board of Education can entertain is 2%, and our state aid increased by $450,000 over last year. So to just touch on each of those bullets, and we'll post this presentation so it's easier to view on our website, but that's just the big picture of our enrollment. The only unknown for us really is the development and the affordable housing plans that are underway in Chatham Borough and Chatham Township. We don't know what that will end up yielding in terms of students. But other than that, our enrollment is is continuing to decline slowly. The caveat to that is that the high school enrollment is still increasing, and we have about a 5-year plateau that we've just entered into for the high school enrollment. So our high school will remain pretty full and pretty packed for the foreseeable future. This is just a contrast between our pre-K through third grade enrollment in blue and our high school enrollment in red over the past 10 or 12 years or so. In health insurance, this is the second year we've been in the cooperative known as the SHIF, the School's Health Insurance Fund. Last year we had a very modest increase. It was a flat premium change in health insurance. And this year, like I said, will be under 5%, but we'll have a final figure by the time of our next meeting in April. Tax levy, I don't need to dwell on this, but essentially school districts or boards of education can exceed a 2% levy cap if certain conditions are present, such as enrollment growth. We do not qualify for any of that, so the board cannot entertain any tax levy increase above 2%. State aid, this will be the third year in a row now that we've received an increase in state aid. This is a result of the law otherwise known as S2. And S2 essentially mandates New Jersey to return to CIFRA, which is the School Funding Reform Act, and provide school districts with the aid that they are supposed to be receiving. That has been harmful to some districts who are losing aid in large amounts, and it's been helpful to other districts who are gaining aid that they had lost previously. We fall into the latter category. So just to put that into perspective, you can see 2009-10 is the bar right there. That was the year right before the financial crisis that ensued, and our state aid dropped precipitously. And then since then, after climbing a bit, we were sort of flat, and then S2 kicked in right here. So these last 3 years have been S2, and you can see this will be the first year where we exceed the amount of state aid we received in 2009-10. And to put that into perspective, this red bar represents the amount of state aid we are supposed to receive under CIFRA. So while the curve has returned to a nice friendly slope for us. We're still pretty far below. We're getting about 70% of the aid that the state tells us we should receive.
How much does that red represent, Mike, in dollars?
The red is, yeah, 5 and a little over $5 million.
Okay, that we're still without.
Yes.
No, we're about 1.7 off.
Okay.
Mike, that aid in the aggregate that we're supposed to receive, is that diverted to other districts, or is that just not carried out through the state? Is it just being cut across the board, or is it diverted to other districts? You know, I'm just curious.
It depends on your perspective. So the reason we've been getting more aid is that the state is reallocating from other districts to districts that have been underfunded. So if the state wanted in one fell swoop to make that red bar, make us whole by that red bar, it would have to take money from other districts.
But the theory behind that, Mike, is that those other districts have been receiving more than their fair share, and their enrollment has gone down. And conversely, a lot of those communities were seeing tax increases of, 0.5%, 1%, whereas our community was taking it on the chin and seeing 3, 4s, and 5 in those time period. So it's not like, it's just a readjustment.
Right, so it was diverted and it did go to other districts.
Correct, and because they were receiving more than their fair share of state aid, one could argue that that's why they kept their tax levy so much lower than, other districts that had been cut over that same period of time.
Got it.
I have a question. Do we think that this is ever going to catch up? I mean, our enrollment is going down now too. So I don't think they're going to catch us up. It's still going to be based on enrollment.
Yes. 3 weeks ago, I would have said, yes, we'll be catching up in 2 or 3 years. I don't know with the latest financial situation we're dealing with if we'll ever catch up. But our enrollment, we were so far underfunded that even with modest declines in enrollment, we will be scheduled to receive more aid.
Okay.
And if you think about that as a percentage of our budget, as we'll get to in a couple of slides, I mean, if our budget is just call it roughly $70 million, and we're getting $3.5 million of state aid, almost all of the rest is coming from the local tax levy. So as a percentage, we're still receiving very little aid per pupil compared to many other districts in the state. We've discussed, and this came up at the last meeting, the additional state aid, how to allocate it, and to a certain degree, sometimes this is 6 of one, half dozen the other, because we do have some capital items that we're going to pay for via the operating budget. But we have several staff positions. One of them is a health and physical education teacher at Chatham Middle School. This was something that came up in the curriculum presentation that Jill Jaworski delivered a couple of months back. But we want to expand the amount of instruction students are receiving in critical health issues at the middle school. In order to do that, we need another staff member. We hired recently a special education teacher at Southern Boulevard School for a particular program. That was driven by the number of students requiring that program. So those students will be moving on to Lafayette next year. We probably will move that teacher with the students, but that was not a position that was budgeted. So we're just kind of covering that position in the budget. And then we did include in the preliminary budget here a maintainer, which is something that we've talked about from time to time for a number of years to try to give more support to our maintenance staff, given the number of facilities and grounds that we have. We are planning on rebidding our transportation routes. We've had a lot of struggles in transportation, as everybody knows, so we wanted to budget a little bit more money in case the cost of transportation rises. And even if we remain with First Student is likely going to relocate at some point in the near future, and the cost of the routes will probably go up if they're no longer based in Chatham. We have a Cisco phone system that we use. The software that we have supporting that system is from, I think, 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So we've been putting this off. We'd like to do it with the additional funding that we're getting. We've also spoken in the Finance Committee about supporting girls ice hockey, which has been very successful. They've requested funding for a couple of years running, and so that's something we at this point, have included in the preliminary budget. So the total amount of these items is here. So then on the, big picture, what that takes us to is a tax levy increase of 1.98% approximately, and it incorporates the state aid that we just discussed. So the tax levy would come in at 1.98% under the preliminary figure. And just again to review, salaries, energy, operating expenses are coming in about 2%. Transportation is going up a little bit, and our health insurance costs will be a little bit above 2%. We have some capital items that we've included in this budget, a number of technology-related investments, including improving or replacing some of our servers. We have a nurse's restroom at the middle school that is not ADA compliant. It's something we really should have addressed years ago. We want to address it now. We have a fire exit improvement at the middle school also to one of the wings. We are going to try to add a couple of toilets to the Cougar Fieldhouse. This is not part of the potential referendum that we've been floating. It's just to convert some fixtures there into toilets and do some other work so that there's a little bit more, capacity in there. So the overall comparison to last year is laid out here. And again, the top number is the last year's tax levy increase was 2. This year is just slightly under 2. And the impact to the property tax bill for the average house is listed here on a yearly basis, and per $100,000 of assessed value is about $2 in both municipalities. Just a revised look at tax levy versus enrollment, and we fall out toward the bottom, just above New Providence and just below Madison. And finally, the key date really is that the state of New Jersey requires budget adoption between April 24th and May 7th. Our next Board of Education meeting will be April 27th, assuming that we cancel the March 30th meeting. So the final budget adoption would occur there, and the board, of course, can make any adjustments that it would like prior to the final adoption. This meeting tonight and the resolution to approve the preliminary budget is just to be able to submit that to the county so they can conduct their reviews and what they have to do to give us approval to move forward.
And this is going to be posted on the district website?
Yes.
And we have an email underneath it for anyone who has questions?
Sure.
Thank you.
Just make it the BOE email.
Okay.
That's on the site.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I want to make sure that.
I just don't want another email. Just make it that standard one that everybody emails. Will the construction be done bid out or in-house or a combination?
The construction for the field house bathroom will be bid out. We're waiting on the architect's estimate for the stairs for the emergency exit. We believe we should be able to do that through co-op vendor, and the phone system. I'm trying to think. I can't remember the third one now. Stairs, the ADA.
Restroom.
The restroom. Oh, and then the both restrooms will be bid. The middle school restroom will be bid out as well.
I only ask, is there any opportunity, maybe shared services with, some of the, either borough or township DPW? Just where possible, look toward.
I can ask, and I will reach out to, obviously Vince Denavi, the borough engineer,
Yes.
and to Rich Young, and ask.
Yeah, if there's an opportunity for some shared services, let's look to the borough and the township first before we go out to bid.
Will do.
Does anybody have any other?
I have a question.
Sure, go Mike.
So right now the preliminary is 1.98. Given that, we may have to make some adjustments to ESY programming, does it make sense to go up to the 2? Because you know that's going to happen,
Mhm.
right? We're going to have additional ESY services.
Yes, certainly if we went up to the 2%, it would give us, whatever the number is, $10,000 or $12,000 or something like that, which would help. So that's a consideration.
Do we have a finance committee meeting between now and the next board of ed meeting?
I think we're going to have to reassess all of our committee meetings and then probably do them virtually, I'm thinking. But we will certainly meet before April 27th. And we can
Put
meet,
that on the agenda to
absolutely.
follow. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Dr. D'Souza?
I have one quick question. Last year, there was a $397,000 local grant, and there's 0 in the column this year. What was that, what was that grant?
The local grants are all part of the donations that we get from the PTO, the CEF, and everything else. So in the 2019-20, we know what we have received so far. We follow the practice of not budgeting for donations. So if they come in, we're very happy, and we spend them on the specific items that were donated, but we don't count that in as revenue, or as anticipated revenue for the next year.
No, there's a good chance that's gonna fall in the next year anyway. Okay,
Put it this
thanks.
way, if I put it in the budget, I have to include it in revenue, and the exact same line item goes out as expense, so it
Okay.
doesn't really do much.
Are there additional slides?
I think that's it.
Okay. Matt, did you have anything you wanted to add? You're good? Excellent. Peter, would you mind doing the business administrator report?
Unfortunately, all of the signs at Cougar and Haas haven't helped. The public is still using them as dog parks. And according to what I was told by one of the maintainers, our village and citizen has been getting her head chopped off every time she mentions it to someone. And when the guys go down in the trucks, the people sit in their cars, and as soon as they leave, then they come out of their cars. I would like to follow, if the board would approve, since Chatham Borough has closed all of their parks, I would like to fence off, lock the gates at Haas, although with the 4-foot fence you can easily get over. But I would like to lock the gates at Cougar, so there would be no access into the track and the turf field. And if people want to walk, there is a walking path that we put in as part of the referendum. But that's my thought process. I don't know how the board feels.
I don't know how I feel about that. I want people outside walking. I just don't want their dogs on the turf, the $1 million turf field.
Can I make a suggestion? We have Class 3 officers that are being repurposed to Class 2 officers, and maybe they have free time, or maybe they don't have free time in the next coming weeks. But should these officers have free time, maybe some extra patrolling around
Pop-ins.
Cougar as a deterrent.
Yeah.
Well, if they're actually gonna do anything about the dogs. They were at Cougar yesterday, the police were at Cougar yesterday, because there were a bunch of kids at Cougar yesterday, and basically they said, you can't be on Cougar, and the kids said, well, we got an email saying that this park, this park, this park, and this park were closed, but not that Cougar was closed, and they were like, oh, okay, you're right, and they left. So they didn't really care that anybody was there. I'm not sure if they were paying any attention to dogs or whatnot. I mean, the only
Yes.
problem is,
On the track. They don't clean it up. There's poop
It's
on the track,
gross.
there's poop on the turf. Yeah.
it's gross.
And, I mean, certainly the dogs are urinating too, but that doesn't leave it a mark. But the kids are playing on it, and they're
Yeah.
playing in urine and poop.
Ah.
Yeah.
I think, our community has made an investment in those fields obviously for human traffic, not for pets. I don't think because of those, we can't put a punitive action in because some people are bringing their dogs. Most people are not. Most people are going to use the track. Most people are going to practice something with their child I am not comfortable limiting access to an entire community because a few people are making a poor choice. That's my opinion, and I won't support locking Cougar Field.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody wants to lock the community out.
Yeah.
I think we just want to protect the asset and have people stop walking their dogs on the
I
turf
agree.
and the track.
Can we send a district-wide email about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just because that's the
We could-
majority of the population, just to say, listen, if nobody has noticed, there are signs now at Cougar Field that you may not bring your dog to Cougar or to Haas. The turf is being ruined, the track is being ruined. Can you please tell your neighbors, tell your friends, I mean, I just think
Yeah.
And our children are playing on the
Right.
track where the
Gross.
dogs are, you know.
I mean, I'm happy to post it on
urinating
Facebook, I don't really
defecating.
care.
Right.
And then also say, if it comes to it,
Yeah,
we'll
put
have
on
to
the
lock
police
it.
form.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Yeah, Mike, can
They
you,
love
can
that.
you say that? If it doesn't
comes to
stop,
it.
we're gonna have to lock the field?
which is not, that's our last resort.
It's $1
but-
million asset.
Agreed.
And, you know, and
Again.
if you're posting it on Facebook, tell people not to admonish other people who are asking them to get their dogs off the turf.
Exactly.
One guy told me to go to hell at Haas
Oh, that's nice.
because he liked the fenced-in feature of the Haas field, so his dog didn't run away.
Right, okay.
I said the girls have a field hockey game here this afternoon. He told me to go to hell. Wasn't my business. So we're gonna have to make it our business. We don't want to lock the field. We want people out in the fresh air, walking and exercising. If they're gonna be shut in, at least let them get some fresh air. But
Service dogs, period. And those dogs don't do that.
Peter, and I know we talked about that. Is there a gate, a back gate where people are coming from that neighborhood? Is this the same?
No, there is,
close
the only entrance is when you come up the ramp from the parking lot, or as if you were walking down from the field house.
That's it?
Kind of by
Those are the only
snack shack.
entrances that are open?
Where we thought
Okay.
the fence was opened up in Madison.
I can't even help
It
myself.
was confirmed to me that it is not cut and it's still sealed.
It's not, okay.
no, it was patched. It was drive up Union Hill. Somebody took bolt cutters and made a 4-foot cut, and then one of our guys patched it. Go up Union Hill and look.
Maybe it was fixed and then
We
I
all
was
have a
told
lot
that
of
it
time to
wasn't.
walk.
Well, it is fixed, but they patched the 4-foot bolt cutting hole that somebody from Madison must have done, because it's right at the top of Union Hill.
Okay.
And not to be so extreme, but are there cameras on that field? I'm just curious. Is
There
it-
are cameras.
Do they record all the time, or?
They record, I believe they record based on activity, and the night vision will not be that great, but they do record. I don't know what course of action, if we went back and reviewed and saw someone and
Well, I think
what
we-
to do
I
other
think
than
we-
send
we
them a
could.
letter or go knock on the
We-
door,
we
or
bring
pick
it-
up the droppings and bring it to their house.
I don't know.
Well, there's
Bring it,
fines.
we let the local police follow up
Yeah.
if we can, you know, I mean, again, I know
The,
that's not
the
their
top of the
priority.
fence is destroyed where they've climbed over it. And okay, that's ambitious, but after they came up with bolt cutters and cut a 4-foot section
Right.
into the fence, now it's just damaging property.
We have a local health officer. I mean, this is a health issue for our children,
Yeah,
I think. I mean,
They're kind of busy right now, but
yep.
Yeah.
Well-
I mean, I think we can revisit this right now. Not a whole lot we can do, other than keep our eyes open
Right.
and tell our neighbors, post on Facebook, do what you gotta do, keep the dogs off.
But
the
if we
field.
could send an email out, I mean, if some of our security, you know, our red shirts can take a swing by, that'd be great. Again, please, community, stop walking your dogs on the turf and the track. And pick up your poop. Hey, Jesus Christ, do you think that's... So, okay, enough on that.
The other quick note is on the middle school auditorium, with the exception of the railings up in the balcony, which are being installed this week, all of the construction is done.
Right.
The architect is in process of arranging for all of the various trades to come back and do all of their punch lists. And the final building inspections have been requested. So we're moving on, and as long as we can get the punch list items, or the punch list done, and then the contract to correct them, we should be done by the end of March.
Okay, Nakoi, keep us posted. Some of the inspectors may be shutting down offices, so just keep us posted on that. I went in on Saturday, it looks spectacular. It really looks amazing. Any questions for Peter on any of the business items? No, okay. There's only one committee report. Ann, on personnel?
Yes, I'd like to move action items A1.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, just the committee report.
Yes, we met right before this. We talked about some personnel stuff that I can't tell you,
Yeah,
and that's it.
just some contract procedure things and some
Yes, exactly.
confidential items.
Correct.
Any liaison reports?
No.
From the borough, just check the website. The borough is updating their website, so is the township, for any COVID-19 information. Then I'm going to move right over to the minutes. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of March 2nd, the public and executive session, and I know Ann and I have to abstain.
Second.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Aye.
Aye.
Pass duly noted, pass 5-0.
Excellent. We have a public commentary section. There's nobody in the public, so we'll move on. Moving over to the action items, Mrs. Ciccarelli, would you mind doing personnel?
Yes, I'd like to move action items, A1 to 13, I believe.
Sorry.
My page starts at 3.
Mine does too.
Sorry, it's,
I'm
So-
assuming there was a 1 and 2, so.
one is a retirement with 3 staff members, and
Can
2
you,
is a resignation.
Okay.
can I
Perfect.
just,
Oh, you have another packet?
thank you.
Why did we get the defective packet?
These were, I think those were made on Friday, these were made this morning.
Okay. So I'm gonna move items A1 to 13 on your regular agenda.
Second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? You good, Peter?
Duly noted, passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. Finance and Facilities, Matt?
Yes, let's move action items D1 through 6 on your regular agenda.
Any questions for Finance? We went over the budget report.
No.
No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Duly noted, passes 7-0.
Excellent. I'd like to move curriculum items C1 through C3.
Second.
Second. Just a quick, Mike, I know Karen's not here, but as soon as you hear any adjustments to the NJSLA testing and what the state's going to be doing about how we are going to assess our students, if we are at all this year, due to extended absenteeism, can you let the board know? And thank you.
On the other curricular items? Nope. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Duly noted, passes 7-0.
Thank you. And Mr. Ryan, would you bring us home with policy?
Sure, I'd like to move item D1 on the regular agenda.
Second.
Any questions or dialogue? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Passes 7-0.
Thank you. Board business, Mike or Peter, in order to cancel the March 30th meeting, do you need any kind of board action?
No, I will send a notice out shortly. This way the public notice will go out, so everybody will have advance warnings, that's fine.
Okay, I do not have anything additional. Again, we're going to focus our energies just on essential business. And Dr. LaSousa, if you have a need for a public meeting to move anything, any resolutions, we'll do it in the safest manner possible, probably outdoors. Okay, so, and let us know if you need anything from us.
Will do.
We do not have an executive session? Excellent. So I make a motion to close the public session.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Excellent. Okay, everybody, please be safe, travel safe, be well.